all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
rough estimate
immigration
of 6
system
million people
that
have been
needs to
released into the country. Now let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when
We are back with a special edition of Let's Talk. I am your host, Joshua Simmons. I moonlight as a commissioner. And we got my homie, BB, a.k.a. Jermaine, depending on if you're a friend or not.
If you're a foe, it's Jerome.
Jerome. So listen, we had to jump back on because Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, sat down with Fox News, Brett Baer, last night, and it was a W. I think it was a W for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I think I would agree. You know, I had my, when you first said, okay, they're going. When we first talked about they're going on, I thought I was like, come on, I don't know if you need to do all this right now. But to come off, this late in the campaign to go into that lines that was ended up being great, and I just don't understand the planning that goes on in that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
It's almost at a loss for words because I'm like, did you guys not see this coming? Is this a continued strategy you guys are going to continue to do? Is because to me it felt like, well, you guys were just played right into her hand because there's no way she wasn't ready for that. That.
I mean, as I said, I love the idea. Go into the lion's den. Go where they've been calling you dumb, incompetent. They been dragging your name through the mud. Go in there, and whether you change hearts and minds or not, but you go in there and you show them what a president looks like.
I feel like I know what the strategy was, and I think she did accomplish it, right? I think it's very obvious that the folks on that channel over there, they're giving their audience a very seasoned version of, the Trump administration and things that Trump says. Mm-hmm. And what she was able to do is really kind of tell them like what's being said out there, what's being done. Because I guarantee you there's a lot of what she said in that interview. I think a lot of that audience actually haven't heard him say it because they're not showing them,
the right clips.
Because look at the clip he chose.
Oh, I gotta find it. Yeah,
that chick he chose about enemies within. They chose that town hall that they just had on that same on Fox, right? And it was very soft, and they chose that town hall as the clip to talk about that instead of the 4 or 5 instances in this week alone of him saying exactly those words. And so I'm like, how is this fair and impartial?
Right.
It was bad, and it looked bad for Brett. I was a little disappointed in him because it was just like, man,
so
what was this?
The part you're talking about is this.
The 50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the
That was
American
horrible, too.
people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization.
He wasn't even making a joke.
It's a terrible thing.
So, Brent, I'm sorry.
And so
that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked
No,
about that specific...
no, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and
I'm telling
respect
you,
to
that was
you,
the question that we asked him.
you didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you...
So, you know what I love about that the most, like watching this again?
Yeah.
I love the fact that she was able to disagree with this man without calling him names, talking about some other group, some other entity, some other reason. She just said, with all due respect, that's not accurate. She didn't call him a liar, a scumbag, or some childish name. She even said, with all due respect to you, that's not right. I love that because that's such a contrast.
I like the way she worded it, because other people, all that whole, well, that's not accurate. No, she said that wasn't the clip.
No.
And it isn't.
Show the right one.
Show the one where he's actually saying this. And I think,
we need to turn the military on the people because there are enemies within. Like, he literally said that. If you don't vote for me, you're against me.
I think the last 3 weeks have shown that.
Go to jail.
These are not even Trump's. These words that are coming out of Trump's mouth, it's hard for me to believe that they're his words because he's not he doesn't read like that. As he admittedly, right? He's a TV guy.
They dumbed down his intelligence briefings to like a page.
He doesn't read like that, right? And so
the president, a page.
Right. He doesn't read like that. He says, and not everybody's a reader. But what it shows to me is that the people in his administration, right, the people who are writing his talking points, they're getting it from somewhere, right? These are talking points that he was given to. He was told, he is being encouraged to use this language, and so it leads me to believe that someone is studying some of these playbooks from history. Right? I think we know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Because everything is aligning exactly this way. All of the rhetoric, how he's speaking and how he's using it is coming from exactly that era.
Of course.
Then there is the rally he's putting.
Bull Connor, that's your boy from Alabama, the governor. I can't
even
think
as
his
far
name
back
right
even during Hitler times. These are what he.
As well.
Then you got his plan. Is it
he's doing
Manhattan?
the rally at Madison Square Garden, where in 1939 there was an American Nazi rally held at Madison Square Garden.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know or care about that stuff.
Of course
the
not.
people around, they're strategically trying to put him on this.
But that's what makes this presidency more dangerous than the 2016 one. Because now they know what they need to do to truly usurp American democracy. They know exactly what to do. They have taken every inch just to see, is anybody stopped? No, they ain't stopped me. Oh wait, there's no real check here. Like, there's no real.
Yeah, they're pushing.
It's like children.
Yeah, they're pushing the envelope, and it's just like, listening to this stuff is like, yeah. And so I'm really glad that she went on there actually and took it just like that. And Brett Baer, my goodness, you came out blazing. You had 30 minutes. You got 30 minutes, and every single one of those questions.
With a historic political figure, I feel like social media has, like, we've got so much access to everybody that we are kind of desensitized to monumental achievements.
Right.
Kamala Harris, no matter how you slice it, no matter what happens in this election, is a historical political figure.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Like, in the world.
Right. And he's talking about, sex changes for prisoners. And I'm just like, bro, I don't think this is not what he will care about. They don't want to hear. They're like, what are you talking about? And in the setup questions of, well, how many millions of illegals did you let in? Well, how many millions of illegals every president let in?
Yeah.
I mean, God, what kind of question?
Are you talking about the ones that come across the border or the ones that come on plane?
Right. Like, every president in history has let in some illegal let them in, and then said we didn't they let them in, but they came in during every single presidency. It was, man, you know what? You really came in and you played yourself.
I feel like Brett Baer, instead of like looking out for himself in terms of his career, having a historic interview like this, the first time she decides to go on Fox ever is with you.
Yeah.
And you decide to go be a mouthpiece for and some folks that would throw you under the bus the minute you decide to say something
Trump
truthful.
was chewing him out on a couple of days ago through social and all that. Remember? So as soon as he found out about the interview, he went out there. Oh, of course she's gonna do it with him because he's soft and da da da. You know what I'm saying?
So he tried to.
Right. Listen.
That's not. But like, why? Like, you are gonna have a longer journalistic career than what Trump would have as a political figure.
Who knows where the pressure is coming down from? But and I got something else. I want to say at this point, right? And I don't know. Maybe he got in contact with Trump people, and they'd say, "Hey, this is the questions we want asked," right?
Okay, I can see that.
I think it's possibly very possible. Let's say if that were the case, or maybe let's say, what is it? Another thing I kind of want to ask, as far as like the Trump camp, when are y'all gonna find the mole? Because as someone who's a leader, I've managed teams and organizations. You can't tell me there's not a snitch in there. Somebody is a plant in his organization that is telling their every move, because this is unbelievable. And in the fact that you have, Kamala's like team, their reaction, to just about everything and planning has just been spot
amazing,
on,
outstanding.
So someone
timely
in that camp. I mean, it's almost as if they know what they're going to do before they do it.
It's like, and you say that because in reference to the fact that whatever Brett Baer threw out at her, she had a response for it. Vice President Harris, whatever was said, she had a response for it. She was prepared for that. But I liken that, maybe there's a mole. It's probably Ivanka. They were like, yeah, we need to get back to getting this money. You messing up the money. This needs to end. But I feel like what Brett Baer taught, like, he didn't even like dig into her policies. All he mentioned was just the things that are too online, that are all on social media, or
he wanted to talk to her about what she said 4 years ago, or longer, when she was running against a very clogged, very packed Democratic primary, where a lot of people were leading a very particular, and she was trying to stand out.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to go way back then, and we're talking about the American people want to know, where is she now? And that's what he wasn't getting to.
No.
You're talking about sex changes for presidents.
Right.
Like, what?
So I also think about this, like, just in life, you don't know what you know until you know it, right? And so, like, you go into a job, you didn't know anything when you first started this job. Now, once you get there, you're like, oh,
yeah, I got to work down the middle.
This is how this works. I thought I could, but I can't. I could try, but will I be successful? No. If I want to be successful, I'm going to have to do a little bit of this. And I tell people all the time, even though I've been an OG K-Hive member, she needed to be vice president for 4 years.
Well, she learned, because remember, she's been saying that, hey, I realized that, working down the middle has been very successful, and also paying attention. Thank God someone's finally paying attention that, hey, what the American people has been asking for over a decade now is that, can y'all just work together? We're not expecting you guys to agree, but what we have been seeing for 20 years now is that, you have gotten to the point where y'all are just not going to get anything done, where too many of you guys have become all or nothing.
Yes. Yeah. On Democrats and Republicans.
All or nothing. And it's like, no, we're not. We're over here hurting, and you guys won't pass a bill for years and years and years, or we pass little tiny tidbits of it. And, here we are. And so I think, you're getting tired of the Ted Cruz's. You're getting tired of a lot of these people.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Like, there's enemies everywhere. We live in a terrible place. Like, I want to wake up and I'll go outside and be happy. Like, this is beautiful. Like, like, I want to, like, just not see the enemy everywhere I turn. Like, I cannot help but sometimes feel bad for the folks that is their only incoming of political messaging, because then their world is dark and negative.
Yeah. There's the taking away of people's hope has been pretty bad. There are people who are doing bad in this country who are not doing too well, and they're falling through the cracks, right? And so for them to kind of get up in the morning and hear, like, hey, it is as bad as you think it is.
Yes.
Matter of fact, it's even worse.
Why try?
And hey, you know what? There's no help coming. These guys are not gonna help. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, dang, like, you know what I mean? That's not what you
Pushing
really want.
people backs against the wall when we know that, hope floats. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
So we talked about this on the last episode. This campaign, the Harris-Walz campaign, is going to be studied for its efficiency, for its ability to, just raise a ton of money.
Sure. Yeah.
Their ability to pivot, their ability to kick out content, their ability to bring in and give space to Republicans.
Well, it gives me a lot of encouragement.
That's crazy.
Well, it gives me a lot of encouragement for their administration, right? Like, these are very capable people.
100%.
You know, these are, they if you look at them as an example, they have a very capable and competent machine around them. Whoever all the unnamed leadership and people in there, they are working like a well-oiled machine. I don't know how many hours to put it in, but they don't seem to be missing a beat. This has been intense. I don't know how many hours of sleep they're getting over there, but
not a lot.
This has been
not a lot.
This has been intense to watch, and I feel like the closer we get to this, and now we have to think about early voting starting here in Florida next week. The more it's just been intensifying. I was very encouraged too by this. I don't know if you saw the ruling that just happened late last night in Georgia.
The turnout. Whew.
Well, no, not the turnout. The ruling.
For the state. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so these guys with the passed that rule for the mandatory hand recount, and I'm glad that judge had some sense and be like, hey, listen, this is too little, too late. And it's going to put so much on the system. Nobody has been trained for this. You just can't,
can't do this.
Within weeks of an election, decide that, hey, you're going to pass all these rules. And one of those rules was that, no matter what happened, we have to have a mandatory hand recount. So I'm really glad that was struck down last night, because that was just insane.
It's so funny how over since 2020, right? And it's scary to think this. But really, when you think about our government, it really does depend on good people or decent people being in position of authority.
Right.
And so you take with what Lindsey Graham, Lady G, was trying to do in Nebraska, where, in Nebraska, they have 3 votes and it's not winner take all. It's you get, piecemeal. So usually how it's broken out is that 2 votes have traditionally went to Republicans and 1 vote has went to the Democratic candidate for president in the Electoral College. And what the scenarios were kind of kicking out was that there could be a possibility where the presidency could come down to that 1 vote that would usually go to the nominee, and it would give Kamala Harris the win by 1, right? So Lindsey Graham was going out to Nebraska and trying to get the state legislature there to change it to winner take all.
Right.
So now you win the popular vote in that state. Generally, it's probably going to be a Republican. They get all 3 votes, right? 1 state senator, a Republican state senator, said no. He was the last vote. He said, no, we're not changing that.
Right.
Can you imagine if that would have been successful?
Sure.
We get to election night and this man wins by 1 because...
some people have
that
some
would
sense
be crazy.
in understanding these implications, right? This is maturity, understanding, and even with, shout out to Mike Pence, who understood that at his defining hour, right? Where, hey, I need you to put in these fake electorals in, or I need you to...
yeah. He's like, sir, I cannot do that.
Yeah, multiple
like,
times. No. This shit is crazy.
So we'll backtrack then, and we'll go back to the interview. I know when we on the last episode, you were kind of iffy about the interview. You know what? I was here for it. I was game for it. I don't know if that's because I'm just a super competitor. I like showing people better than I can tell them. All I know is All I know is that Kamala Harris went on Fox News. She was prepared. She walked Brett Baer down multiple times. He kept trying to overtalk her. She held her ground. Honestly, it's tough for a woman in that situation because if you start to show, too much this, they might try to tag you as this. They show you, but they can't. It's funny. They can't say she's an angry black woman because they try to keep saying she ain't black. Well, ain't that hilarious?
I watched the panel commentary afterwards, and it was interesting to see one. He conceded, essentially conceded defeat, right? It was just basically, it was like, well, I'm sure they're her team. We're looking for a viral moment, and they probably got it. And then you listen to the rest of the panel, basically said, hey, basically essentially hats off to her that, she would come in here and do this. And many of them just really didn't have much to say. And it was really interesting to see them react to it. And they knew like, yeah, this was probably a mistake. How this was done, what you were doing. And, they just knew this was a mistake. You really squandered a real opportunity because you decided to go after these ridiculous talking points.
That has nothing to do with anything. So yeah, maybe it doesn't change all these people wanting to vote for her, but maybe there were some Republicans who watched Fox News who were, they were kind of, they were up for debate, and then
I do think
now they're like, wait a minute, okay, I'm okay with voting for her.
Or okay with not voting against her.
Or okay with not voting against her. Sometimes if you take out the enthusiasm, that can do damage.
Right, because I think what she did there was one, oh yeah, this lady's not stupid. I don't know what they're talking about. She's clearly
that not. Doesn't make what you're saying here doesn't match this. Here.
I also think she took a great opportunity to allow a message, several messages to go out to that audience that they were not getting. Because they, a lot of the things that Trump has been saying, they're not airing it over there. Once he starts getting a little too crazy and some of those,
they cut it off. Yeah.
They cut it off, right? And then so they spin on that. So here we were finally with no spin, and she was able to get a clear message about this is what I want, and this is what happened, and this is what's being said. And now, if I'm an undecided person or I'm looking to be an educated voter, I probably would to go look up that clip she's talking about.
Ooh,
you get what I'm saying? I probably went to go research some stuff.
No, he did say that. Oh,
you're right. Huh. That's what they're gonna go look at, and you're gonna find a whole bunch of stuff. Like right now, just which got me cracking up yesterday. The report from Rachel Maddow that come to find out, this man is still trying to pay off Stormy Daniels. And I said to myself, well, what dimension are you guys living in? You got 34 convictions from this very thing. And you guys are still here 30 days this summer. You guys are still trying to pay off Stormy Daniels? Why? What is...
Leave it alone.
It's done. It's done, bro. You got convicted. You're waiting for sentencing.
Literally.
What? Literally. And you still are bothered by this woman and what she has to say about you, that you are still trying to pay her off? I was
he can't get out of his own way.
The reporters couldn't even get it together. Everybody was cracking up when they first talked about it.
Because it doesn't make sense. Like, dude, stop. Just stop. Man, stop. Somebody, that's how you know he ain't got no real friends.
I thought it was fake.
He probably lives such a lonely life. I guarantee he doesn't have a real, genuine friend. Guarantee it.
You can't be friends with someone like that, though.
But what a life. What kind of life is that? You gotta have a trust. Alexander the Great had a trusted advisor. A friend. You gotta have a friend.
I think what's the name? The guy who was running the
Roger Stone?
Yeah, and then
Stephen Miller? Or what's his name? The one that went to jail. Keep going, Steve Bannon.
No,
because they got crossed. No, they went out. They fell out.
You got guys like the Pillow Guy. You got guy.
No, but those are yes men though. Those are lackeys.
No. His real friend really was the guy. What was it? The guy who had the magazine, not the national. Was it? What was the?
The National Enquirer guy, right?
Right. Those guys were friends. Those guys sat up all night about talking about all sorts of stories. The cover in the magazine, all that type of greasy. They had the same type of interests in terms
But
of
I wonder though,
gossip and
because
filth.
but a friend is someone you see as an equal, and I don't think Trump looks at anyone as his equal.
I don't know. I just felt like in terms when I was watching the the trial and understanding their relationship, I don't think they were both rich men, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had the same, to me, the same appetites.
Okay,
The same, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
So they kind of were in that kind of like thing together, and even to the end, he was, even when he had to take the trial against them, you can tell there was no bad blood. It's like, yeah, bro, we got caught, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to jail. Okay. But hey, you know what I'm saying? And he had a big smile on his face the whole time, and they're good.
Right.
I think that's maybe, I would say that's, other than that, I don't think, it's just a bunch of people that he wants to be in this echo chamber. And I think it's very difficult to be friends with somebody like that because
Yeah, true.
he really is, I need people to tell me what I want to
He
hear.
needs the love of the crowd. He needs the love of what he thinks is the love of the people.
Or, I mean, I can't imagine being some
the
friend with somebody.
adulation.
Or I always kind of need you to kind of be willing to do what I want you to do.
And not really push back.
Right. Because I had, there are people who really, they do want you to walk the gray line for them. They do want you to kind of like, you kind of, ready to go to jail for me?
Yeah. All right. So there are multiple ways to win an election, and we're wrapping this up. This was our quick, dirty special. The reason why the Fox News, Kamala Harris going on Fox News, was great and strategic, which is beautiful strategy, is she also, the same day, which was yesterday, had a Republicans for Harris rally.
Yeah.
And then you have your Fox News interview air that same night. So her team, they, like you said, they are rolling. They are well oiled. They are like going into playoff season, like ready to win the whole thing. And the way you win a national campaign like this, because everybody's going to have their base. Everybody's going to have those people that no matter what you do, they are going to vote for you. You have to get the folks in the middle. You grow your base, you add to it. And I think Kamala Harris has added so much more support that although the polls are tightening up, as they always do in every presidential election, what's going to happen on election night will be a historic win. Not just because she'd be the first woman president in American history, but in terms of how much she wins. I think you can clock that. I don't think it's going to be close.
Well, I think in terms of how you're going to win, I think you, like I said, I think there is when you can only run one of two campaigns, right? You're running a campaign where, of coercion, right? Or you're running a campaign where of bringing out the vote, right? I think they started off their campaign of like galvanizing, bringing out the vote, right? Mm-hmm. New vote,
energizing folks, tapping into the new energy.
Then they did switch over. They switched over
the enthusiasm, and then it shifted to the center.
So just switches to the corrosion worse, right? Which is where we're trying
persuasion.
Yeah, persuasion. Where we're bringing other people, maybe on the fringes, doing our best to bring them to our side, bringing the middle to us going to the middle. I know there was a lot of criticism when that kind of occurred because it was kind of like, nah, like keep running up, whatever. I just assume maybe on their end they probably felt like they felt comfortable with the galvanizing vote, right? Getting all these people to register, they got all that. So now it's like, all right, y'all, can we bring some you guys in the middle, these so-sos, whatever, to come out and say, hey, you know what? We're done with this guy. Mm-hmm. We're coming over here.
People are exhausted, man.
Well, I think it's more than just that. I think she's also sent out a lot of white flags and a lot of like talks have been had to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to bring some of you guys in.
She said she's going to have a Republican in her cabinet, which I'm cool with.
Why? That's why I think, those people have been giving the indications, right? And I think her people have taken the calls.
It's like Star Wars, man. Like she's bringing balance to the force.
Right?
Like I know people want multi-party systems here in America, and I get it. I don't see that happening anytime soon just because of the financial resources you have to start your party. And if you're already somebody with money, you're probably already baked in where you're going to be at. our political system is an ecosystem, and Republicans and Democrats, no matter how much they fight, they need each other.
Yeah.
And what has happened to the Republican Party over the last decade has thrown that completely out of whack. And so we are, like, for instance, you had like the quote unquote far left in the Democratic Party that has been largely silenced. We handled that, right? And I say we 'cause I am a Democrat. I said that. But the right wing on the Republican side took over the party.
So
And you are seeing now,
I have a question for you after that said.
I got you. You see now that people are trying to, like, the true Republicans are trying to wrestle their party back from this, like, precipice, because they are about to go over the cliff. If this man wins this election, that's it. It's a wrap. So
I think that started off with the Tea Party.
of course, all about Obama. It was all about Obama, and it wasn't because of anything else other than what he looked like, my friend.
The Tea Party kind of was out there.
Shut the government down. That's Ted Cruz.
Right.
DeSantis was a part of the Tea Party movement.
They didn't have anything to really like galvanize around, so Trump kind of gave them that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which okay.
Well, he became the central figure for that.
Well, because he was able to bring a lot of the popular. He ran a very populist, message.
Mm-hmm.
So now, for me, win or lose, they're still on the precipice. Because what I think my question to you is not even. I'm wondering because they have such this solid base, and these people have become sort of like, I want to say cult, but it's really kind of like this stuck on his personality.
Their community. It's a cult of personality. That's the actual educational term, cult of personality.
Sure, right. So it's becoming harder and harder and rooted in it. Matter of fact, the more it seems that people push against it and tell them to come out of it, the more they settle their sticks even deeper. I wonder is how do they get this party back? Will if that 40% remains 40% or even close to it, that's a huge chunk, right? How do you get even the major donors? Will they abandon MAGA? Or will MAGA live out Trump? Because if that's the case, then what we were going to see, that precipice you're talking about, is that it's going to be extremely difficult for them to win because you can't win on the 40%.
Right. And I think that edge is there. I think what you would have is, I think once, let's say Trump is no longer that political viable candidate, and you can barely say he is today, but whatever he is, he's a nominee, that you would have less than 40% that would still be ride or die. I think people like winners. People like being a part of what's happening, what's in. So you're going to have, I would say, even 20% of that stay with the Republican Party. Because maybe they feel like they don't have no other political home, or there's nowhere else for them to go. And then I could low-key see like a Bull Moose party come out of that, like what was happening with Teddy Roosevelt when he tried to have his party, even though they got demolished in their elections. But you could have a situation like that where MAGA becomes a political party, if you will. But because of our system, our two-party system, it won't go anywhere. But as I said in the last episode, our bellwether is going to be right here in Florida. In our gubernatorial elections, we are going to see, is MAGA its own entity, or is it 100% dependent on Donald Trump?
So I'm interested in to see how the pieces get picked up after this, because the money has been depleted. Mm-hmm. The resources have been depleted.
People buying them fake Rolexes. They buying Trump Bibles that was made in China.
He's gonna keep talking.
Gold sneakers, baby.
He's gonna keep talking. He's
Trading cards.
He's gonna keep on doing his True Social and all that stuff. And then you have these diehards, because the problem with his message too is that it's so grim, right? That if he loses, right, now to those people, like, it's the end of the world. Even on our side, right? The Democrats say, hey, if he wins, it's the end of the world, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, I would be more afraid of this presidency if Trump were to win, which he's not. But I would be more afraid of this one than the 16. I wasn't as afraid in the 16. Oh yeah, for
it
sure.
Sucked for me. I was like, it sucks. But the world quickly saw they had no clue what they were doing. This time, that's much different. The playbook is right there in front of us. Project 2025. I know people has become like a specter, but I'm glad that so many people know about it and talk about it because that's their playbook.
Yeah.
That's their manual. And that manual would not only be instituted in the federal government, that's going to go to state houses, and it may still go to state houses all over this country.
It almost feels like he doesn't even know or care what decisions are even going to be made on his behalf.
He doesn't. As long as he is the guy. He's the guy. He's the president. I'm the number one. Everybody's coming to see me. He don't care about what y'all doing back there. I don't care what y'all got going on. Just don't make me look bad.
Yeah.
And then look bad is not don't do anything to hurt people. That ain't what that is.
Yeah.
Look bad is don't go against anything I've ever said.
That's what it feels like. It feels like, yeah, man. Like,
or if I'm telling you to, if we got people protesting, I'm telling you to go send out the army.
Yeah. That's what it almost feels like. Hey, you say, here, buddy, here, sign here.
Yeah, thanks. What's the fine print? Don't worry about it. Keep signing.
Yeah.
So look, man, we gotta, states are already voting. Early voting's coming up soon in Florida. We are in the end game now, my friend.
Yeah, I'll be voting. We definitely are, and it does feel weird, man. It's kind of like you're just kind of like feeling like, oh man, we're finally gonna get something new. It feels like
it's crazy that we are like we're about to get a woman president, and I don't know again if it's just so much of like we just need to get this done that we don't even know what we're gonna feel like the day after because we know how bad it can go or what it felt like in 2016. So that now we're just like balls to the wall. It don't matter what's going on. I don't give a damn about the polls. Y'all could tell me she's winning. It could be 100 to 0%. I don't care. Go vote.
It's definitely one that I'm definitely not going to do that night. I also want us to retain, get the Senate. Cause I don't want that. What happened with Obama, right?
Yeah, they shut him down. He only had 2 years. And you have Mitch McConnell, who, by the way, we're going to have to talk about one of our episodes because Mitch McConnell has been one of the most destructive people in American history to our democracy. Put a pin in that one.
He's a very successful
Stood on the Capitol and said, we are going to do everything we can to prevent Obama from being a 2-term president.
Yeah, it didn't work, but...
It didn't, but they definitely hemmed him up, though.
They did a lot.
Procedurally, they hemmed him up, but... So we got to, of course, she has to have a functioning Congress, at least one of the chambers, primarily the Senate, because the Senate can move a little more legislation. The House is going to do the House, but I think
she got a lot of pressure.
Because we can mess around now. We can mess around now and have Hakeem Jeffries as speaker. So can you imagine? You'd have the first black speaker with the first black woman president, first woman president,
right?
With Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Bro, she got a lot of pressure though, right? Because
of course.
Because the Roe versus Wade, she got to do something about women's rights.
Of course,
that's gonna.
And I hope she's not afraid to pull that executive order trigger.
I
hope she's not afraid to pull that trigger.
She's gonna, if anything, she's gonna have to deliver there.
Look, my wife gets on me because I love the movie Lincoln, and Lincoln is like 50,000 hours long, but it's a great movie.
I know
it is a fantastic piece of film. Mm-hmm. And it chronicles the story of Lincoln from signing the executive order, the Emancipation Proclamation, to getting the 13th Amendment passed. And it shows basically how he forced their hand to take this thing that could have got canceled with the next administration and make it legislation. We need that.
Yeah, we need that.
We need that. Like, just sign the executive order. I get it. People don't like it. It's not clean, but sign the executive order, because this is about health. This is a human right issue. And let's get it figured out.
It's why I like Tim Walton there. He's somebody that's willing to get his hands dirty.
Yeah, and he's gotten things done.
I like it. I do think we need that. I do need, and you need to get your hands dirty.
Absolutely, my brother. So look, this is our time for this special episode.
Yeah, man.
Thank y'all so much for listening. This is Let's Talk. Joshua Simmons, Jermaine BB, if you're an enemy, Jerome. We're going to be back soon. We got a lot more to talk about, but we wanted to stop out real quick and talk about Kamala Harris going on Fox and kicking some butts and taking names.
Big time.
Until the next time, y'all, let's talk.
All right, adios.